Good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Southern Santa Piper. I'm your host, Kenny, and today we are going to be talking about L.J Peretti and Company and their blend 432. Thank you guys for coming back and joining me here on another edition of Southern Santa Piper. It's been about a week or so since I've done my last video. I've been out of town in Boston. And when I was in Boston, I had some really fun experiences with a good buddy of mine, James LeClaire. And the first place he brought me to, right after my plane landed, because it was maybe 10-15 minutes from the airport, was L.J Peretti. Now normally, if I'm going into a tobacco shop, I'm probably going to be eyeballing their English blends, and I picked up an English blend known as Midnight and actually an Oriental blend. I forget the name of that one. We'll do another episode of that one. But in any case, this particular blend was recommended to me by my good friend James LeClaire, and he says it's one of his favorites and has been for probably 30 years. So I figured I've got to give it a try. So I picked up a few ounces of that day. I picked up 2 ounces of the 432, 4 ounces of the Midnight, and an ounce of the other blend. And I'm telling you, this is the blend I could not put down. My whole entire trip in Boston was spent with me smoking this pipe tobacco. So why don't we get into this a little bit? It comes in a sealed paint can, for lack of a better word, when you buy a pound. Generally, they'll put your name up here. Since I was probably in the store, that probably was overlooked, but I'm okay with that. And then when it's inside of the tin, it's bagged. And this particular blend, I'm going to pull some out here so you can take a look, is an absolutely beautiful mixture of Cavendish, Virginias, and the tin note on this is just nothing short of extraordinary. I'll be honest with you, when I pulled up the reviews on this, it is just unbelievable. Just lovely. Some of the reviews on this was comparing this to Lane 1Q. And I'll be honest, with the exception of a hint of vanilla or possibly even caramel that I'm tasting in here, I don't see where the comparisons are. I like Lane tobaccos. In fact, 1Q and BCA is one of my go-to aromatic mixes, so this tastes nothing like it. This taste, if there is a topping in here, and I'm just sealing that back up for now, if there is a topping in here, it is so sublime. What you're tasting is tobaccos and the sweetness of the tobaccos, and there is a coconut in here, but it's not like a heavy coconut. It gives a nice root note and a nice sweetness, but it is nothing that's overpowering to this tobacco at all. I'm smoking this today in one of 2 pipes that I wanted to share with you as well, and this is going to be actually in a future episode talking about these, probably tomorrow's. But these are 2 pipes that came to me from Greece, from a company called Marshall Field and Company, which was a Chicago store. And this meant quite a bit to me because I was born and raised in Chicago, and being a teenager, I worked in the mall right next to Marshall Field and Company, and used to shop there a lot when I had the money to. And we'll get into that more tomorrow. But this is a lovely, lovely grained, they call it their special grain, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is a combination of a ring grain and a straight grain, and it is just breathtaking, unsmoked. I gave it a char light. Let's give this thing a light and let's give this a discussion. I'll be honest, guys, I don't know if 1 pound is going to be enough for me. I might just have to order another pound just to make sure that I've got it in stock for the rest of the year. With shortages of all other supplies, who knows what's going to happen with tobacco. Got a buddy of mine, Cannibal, who is working on a goal of 60 pounds, even though he keeps revising it. First it was 120, now it was 60. But I think he left me a voice message the other day that he might even revise further to 50 pounds, a little bit more attainable goal. This would definitely be one of my apocalypse blends. If you couldn't get tobacco anymore and you could only have tobacco that you've been stocking up on in your cellar, I pray to God that I got enough of this. I could realistically have this as my only aromatic and be fine. And I'm using aromatic in the broadest sense of the word. I recently got an aromatic that I just love with an orange topping on it called Gandalf's Blend from Wien's Blending. And while an incredible tobacco, it's obviously topped with toppings to give it this orange and tea and vanilla flavors. Where this doesn't taste like there's toppings on it. This, to me, tastes like pure tobacco that is getting its flavors from the various combinations of tobacco, if that makes sense. That even though there's sweetness and flavoring to the tobacco, it doesn't taste like it's an artificial flavoring. It tastes like these are the tobacco's natural flavors that have come forth because of blending. My first impression when I walked into the shop was that I had stepped back into time from a tobacco shop. Well, the tobacco shop opened in 1870, but kind of the vibe I get when I walk into the shop is probably one from the turn of the century, the early 1900s maybe, the 1910s or the 1920s. It's got that kind of vibe and feel to it. And there'll be some pictures both in the intro and on the outro of this video for you all to enjoy of the shop. They have an incredibly helpful staff. My first day in there, I was looking for tobacco, and a few blends were recommended, and I was smelling one blend. I said, it smells good, but I want more Latakia. It doesn't smell as Latakia forward. There were a lot of Orientals going on. I believe that was the British. And while the smell was incredible, it wasn't what I was really looking for. I was looking for something that was more Latakia forward with less Orientals, more Virginias. And they recommended a blend to me called Midnight. And holy mother of God, that is another one of those blends that if I wouldn't have went over my budget, and I didn't go over my budget, I had kind of a few $100 tobacco and pipe budget while I was in Boston. But I didn't want to spend it all if I didn't need to, and knowing that I can order from them quite easily online, I figured I'd pick up one of their blends today, or yesterday before I left. This is when I picked up this pound. It's a rainy day here in north central Florida. Don't know if my microphone's picking up the chickens. I hope not. They're a little bit upset over the heavy rain, so I have an enclosed porch. And they like to run underneath my side porch here when it's raining, and that's why you'll hear my chickens a lot when I record out here. But back to my story. So they had recommended this Midnight tobacco to me, and just some gentleman out of the back, and I didn't catch his name, was like, you know, let him try the Midnight. And I didn't bring a pipe in with me, and I should have, but I just got off the airplane and I didn't want to go searching for my bags and go back to the car to do that. So I smelled it, smelled great, went ahead, purchased it, and I couldn't be happier. But this is the one that shocked me, because I have not smoked an aromatic tobacco heavy in a while, probably close to a year that I'm smoking primarily aromatics. I've been gradually changing over the last year from my past of mostly aromatics with an occasional English to now smoking primarily Englishes with just the occasional aromatic. The staff, you couldn't ask for a nicer bunch of guys. The gentleman who helped me out the first day, and then when I came back in the second time, his name was Todd. And Todd is one of their pipe builders. And the day I was in there, he was working on a panel pipe. And we were talking about panel pipes, and he was just telling me just how detailed it is. And you would assume that a panel pipe would be fairly easy to make. I would. I'm not a pipe builder. I would think something like this would be fairly hard. Well, apparently panel pipes are pretty hard to do because it's all by hand and hand sanding and getting the geometry right on them. The edge is just right. So he's working on this pipe, and it's just a stumble, and I'm seeing him working on it. And he says that he specializes in straight grains, and I'm just seeing what look like blonde, briar. He gives it a lick with his tongue, and you could see the beautiful straight grain. It's like, oh my God. Well, that was last Thursday, a week ago today. Scratch that. That was last Friday. Well, I go in there yesterday, and that pipe is completed, and he's got it in a display case. And wow, a panel pipe in the tradition of some of the great Italian pipe makers. This looks like a high-end Italian pipe that you would spend $700, $800, and $900. He had it for a little over $400, if my memory serves me, which I thought was an exceptional buy for such a pipe. If it was in my budget, I would have bought it right then and there, but I had purchased another pipe from Watch City Cigars, which will be another episode, and had been buying tobaccos while I was there, and I didn't want to blow all of my kind of vacation spending money budget on buying pipes and tobacco while I was out of town. So I passed that one up, but it is definitely one of those pipes. If I had the spare money on me, I would have definitely have bought that pipe. It's one of those pipes that you're never gonna see such beautiful, just beautiful handmade quality. And that kind of surprised me. It wasn't something that I would have expected from Peretti. Most of the pipes that you see in their oiled price range is probably in that $60 to sub $100 mark. They've got several pipes like in the $120 mark, but these aren't marketed as Peretti pipes, but there's Todd and another builder there who has pipes in their kind of their high-end counter where the Dunhills and some of your other high-end brands are, and lovely pipes. Todd was one heck of a guy, very knowledgeable about tobacco. I'm going to give them a call after I release this video and see if we can do a follow-up video, possibly of me doing a video interview with Todd or one of the other members of L.J Peretti, and talk a little bit about their history, where their focus has been, maybe where they see themselves positioned going forward. It was really nice, though, to see community support. When I was in there, they stayed relatively busy. There were people coming in and out, mostly for cigars, but several people for pipe tobacco as well. Everyone in there my first day was smoking a pipe, which is a nice thing to see as a pipe smoker, to walk into a pipe shop and see gentlemen from their, I don't know, let's call it 20s through their 60s smoking pipes. Really loved Boston. Great city. Anyone who downs Boston, I don't know what's your problem. Great city, nice people, wonderful food. My buddy lives outside of Boston, Framingham, and spent time there. He actually lives in an area called Sawville, I believe. Went to his Masonic Lodge in Concord, which was chartered by Paul Revere. Beautiful. Jim did the restoration work on it. He restored the whole entire lodge. And then right across the street was a place called Colonial Inn from 1716, and we did lunch over there as well. The other thing, when he brought me to show me his Masonic Lodge that he had done restoration on. Jim is a painting contractor by trade. Is that I learned a lot of history, and it was the place that that Henry David Thoreau wrote Walden on it. Well, he wrote it at Walden. This is where he used to teach school. The Masonic Hall, the first floor was the school for Thoreau, and the second floor was used by the Freemasons. And like I said, it was chartered by Paul Revere. Admiral Nelson was one of the past masters in there. It was interesting to see his picture up on the wall of past masters of that lodge. Also a gentleman with the last name of Bull, I believe, who was the founder of the Concord Grape. You know, I've heard of Concord grapes most of my life. I've enjoyed Concord grapes. Like Concord grape jelly. I think Mogan David 2020 is made from Concord grapes. Oh, don't drink that. That was things we drink in high school that you shall never drink again. We are going to call it quits today, guys. I just wanted to give you guys a quick little video after my return back from Boston. I'll be back to resuming my regular video, daily videos, starting back tomorrow. Tomorrow we will probably talk about these two Marshall Field pipes. And then Saturday we'll have a live event. We'll go live Saturday night. And we'll sit around and smoke pipes together and have a discussion. So make sure to join us on Saturday for a live Southern Santa Piper. But again, thank you guys all so much. I really, really appreciate you guys as my viewers. I appreciate your subscribing. I appreciate you recommending this to your friends. If you do like this, hit like if you're new here. Hit the subscribe if you're enjoying the content, and make sure you're hitting that notification so you get notifications when I have new videos. Again, thank you again, and you all have a blessed day. Take care.